opted for private care instead of public care because of the mistreatment I got on my first child from the public care. This baby has to come out now. This baby has to come out now. So they warmed the water up. For the first time in a very long time, I had someone bath me. Hello everyone, my name is Tandiwe Juru. I'm a wife and a mother to two beautiful sons, and today I'm going to talk about my experience, my water birth experience with my second child. Okay, so I found out about my second pregnancy when I noticed that I'd missed my period, and it was after we had spent the whole year, you know, just joking about how we wanted a second child. Our first child was around 5 years, so we always joked about how, my husband always joked about how now's the right time, our son is old enough now, so let's have a second child. So I had run out of my family planning pills, and I was just like, you know what, it's a weekend where I normally go, they are normally closed, so I just said, no, you know what, I'll get them during the week. And because I was going to work, by the time I finished working, that clinic, the doctor's office is already closed. So I just kept on procrastinating until I noticed, no man, my period has been gone for too long. And then I took the test, and then yes, I found out I was pregnant. And then it was just an excitement in the house. I told my husband, he was also very happy. And then I had always envisioned having a baby girl, so I started picturing myself with a baby girl. I literally chose the name, I think, when I was about a month pregnant or somewhere there. The name of my baby girl, both names rather, for my baby girl. So yes, we told our son a bit later, when we're really sure that I was pregnant, and after the first scan. And then our son was extremely thrilled. He was, because all of his friends, they now had younger siblings. He was the only one that had a younger sibling. So we were so excited. He even asked me the names. We told him. From then on, he kept on referring to the baby by the name I told him. And he was always excited. Oh, there's a baby in my mom's tummy. You know, I think almost everyone he met, he told them there's a baby in my mom's tummy. So after the first scan, we found out that the baby was a boy, and that was a bit of a downer in the house, especially for my son, because he really wanted a sister. And then we found out it's a boy. I had to teach him and, you know, talk to him and tell him that, you know, a sibling is a blessing from God, so you should just accept the baby brother that's gonna come. And because both my pregnancies, I vomit a lot, I'm really glad that my husband was around to help me through it, especially when it comes to cooking. I think I spent about 3 or 4 months not cooking, especially supper, things to do with onion and garlic, because I would immediately go to the bathroom. And also at work, my boss was very, very understanding. I would miss work a lot because of the vomiting, and at times I would just feel weak. So I'm glad that the people around me, especially during my first and second trimester, they were extremely supportive. When it came to telling my mom and my sister and my brother, I waited a bit because I just wanted to surprise them. So I told them later that, you know, my mom can get really overly excited. So I had to wait a bit until I'm mentally in a headspace where I could deal with the excitement from other people. So I told a bit later. And then I also hid the gender from my family because I wanted to surprise them. I knew, my husband and I, we knew. And also our son knew. But my mom, I told her later, like, I only told her after actually I gave birth, because I just wanted to surprise them. I wanted to keep them on their toes, guessing, is it a boy, is it a girl? And I would send pictures of the clothes that I bought. So I bought yellow clothes, nude, so I'll send those, and they'll be like, yes. And then they'll be like, but it's yellow, it's gender neutral. So yes, and even I gave them a list of names, both girl names and boy names, and I'm like, so if you were to choose, what name would you choose? Even though I knew I'd already chosen the names. And yes, so my mom kept on sending me messages every now and again. Are you doing this? Are you exercising? Are you, just giving that motherly advice on what to do to make my pregnancy easier? And they kept asking for pictures. And because I know all the people already, they always know when it's a boy, it's a girl. I never sent her pictures of my pregnancy, especially when it was so evident. I only sent maybe, I think, the first 3, 4, 5 months when I was not really showing, so that she doesn't know whether it's a boy or girl. And even my face, I never sent pictures of my face, because I knew if I just sent, my mom would automatically know that it's a boy. And I would have wished for my mom to come when I gave birth, but due to the pandemic, the lockdown, and traveling restrictions, unfortunately she could not be here. And I know for her that was really heartbreaking, because with my first son she was there and she was great help. And now, because they are 5 years apart, it feels like starting again, because some things I really didn't know how to bathe a baby. Yeah, I had forgotten how to do that. So I would have loved for her to be around, especially because soon after giving birth, my husband had to travel to Limpopo, outside town, and I was all alone with my first son and the new one. I would have really appreciated great help around me, but it is what it is, and all things work together for our good. Yeah. Okay, so with my second child, I never had actually with both my pregnancies, I never had complications. The only thing that I experienced is vomiting. I vomit a lot when I'm pregnant. I opted for private care instead of public care because of the mistreatment I got on my first child from the public care. And I chose to go for a midwife because firstly, I'm not a medical aid, so I was looking for the cheapest route for me that would not break my bank. And so there was this birthing clinic that had a midwife who offers such services, and I decided just to go for the midwife. And also, because the first child, it was your normal vaginal birth, this one she was offering a water birth, and I just wanted to experience, because in my mind, and until now, this is my last baby, so I just wanted to experience a different type of giving birth, not just the normal vaginal birth. So I opted for the water birth just for the experience of it. And then as I was, so from the very first scan, I went to the midwife. I was somewhat happy with the services until the thing is, you don't really get proper examination when you're at the private care. So later in my pregnancy, I had to go to the public clinic where they did proper examining everything they did, and I was so satisfied. In as much as it took long, literally spent the whole day there. And again, because I'm a foreigner and I don't yet speak any of the languages, that whole interpretation thing, and the mistreatment that foreigners get when they're at a public clinic. So but I'm glad I got through it, and I'm really happy with the services I got with the midwife at the end of my pregnancy, towards giving birth. And then when it was 40 weeks, I was really expecting my baby to come, and then he did not come. And I started stressing out now. I started panicking because I was thinking, okay, with my first child, I gave birth at exactly 40 weeks, and I was hoping it was going to be the same with the second one. But then he delayed, and my worry now was on complications, because they say at 42 weeks and above, then the longer the baby stays, the more the risk of complications. So, and I really didn't want any complications to happen to my baby or during the birth. So the first time I went there, and then she said, no, we miscalculated your weeks. And I was quite furious and angry. I mean, you have a scan, it's your job, you were supposed to know when exactly. So apparently now, when I then went after, at the first 41 weeks, it was now the right 40 weeks. So she had miscalculated by a week. And then I just felt cheated, because I'm paying money, and then at the end of the day you're telling me you miscalculated my days. And then but I kind of consoled myself in the fact that prior to me getting pregnant, I never had a regular menstrual cycle. So I was like, okay, maybe it could be because of that. And then so she then told me, no, during this week before Friday you would have gone into labor. And I did not get into labor until the Saturday, and then, which was my next appointment. I guess my body was just receiving the stress signals from my brain, because I was really stressing. This baby has to come out now. This baby has to come out now. I couldn't wait. I was tired of being pregnant, and I couldn't wait to meet my little one. Then when I went for my second appointment after the 40 weeks, she then did a membrane sweep. And then, so when she did the membrane sweep, I even went to the mall that day with my first son. We did some shopping, came back, nothing happened. I even tried inducing labor on my own at home, exercising. There's this circuit, I forgot the full name of it. There's this circuit where you do multiple exercises just to induce labor, and nothing was happening for me. And then just Sunday, after the membrane sweep, that's when the labor contraction started, and I finally got into labor. So Sunday morning, as I woke up to prepare for church, that's when I started feeling labor pains, but it was still mild. It was still the like the period pain kind of pain. And then I even ignored, thinking, no, I'm still going to be able to proceed to church, until they were extremely strong, and this happened within an hour, 2 hours. And I was like, okay, so that means this time I'm going to get into labor really quickly. And no, I did not. So this was around 7 a.m. on Sunday. I literally spent the whole day at home. I was in pain. They would come maybe 10-20 minutes apart and then just subside. So I called my midwife, and then she said, no, when they are stronger, and also when they're about 5 minutes apart, that's when you can come to the birthing retreat. So this lasted until around 11 p.m. That's when I started preparing for going to the birthing retreat. I went with my husband, and we got there around 12 midnight. And then when we got there, I was thinking, since they are now somewhere about 5 minutes apart, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna get into labor quickly. No, it didn't happen that way. I kept on experiencing the contractions, and it was not yet time for me to, when you get those labor pains and you really feel like pooping yourself, that's when you're about to give birth. But for me, it was not. It kept on happening until around 4 a.m. And then that's when I felt like, okay, now this is really time for me to give birth. And then, so she told me, since I was having a water birth, she then told me, okay, now you have to go to get inside the tub. So they warmed the water up. It's slightly hot, just above warm. It's not really too hot water. And then, so I got inside. So the thing with water birth now is, the moment you get inside the water, it eases the pain, so you feel the pain lesser, so it doesn't urge you to push. So every time I got into the water, I delayed my own labor until I had to get out and sit on the toilet seat. And then, so she then told me, no, every time you feel the contraction, that's when you have to push. So I tried pushing, and then I guess I was so tired. I remember during this whole, from 12 until as all of this is happening, I remember I kept asking my husband, why do we have children? I kept asking, why are we having children? Why do women give birth? I kept on saying I'm tired, and I really was extremely tired. The pain was so, with the first one, it was not like this. It was extremely excruciating, and in as much as my body needed food, the energy, I just didn't have an appetite to eat. They tried offering me sweets. I didn't want sweets. I even had Energade. I finished all of it. It still was not doing anything for me. Water was not doing anything for me. Juice, nothing. They kept offering me food, biscuits, and I just felt like these sweet things they were giving me, it was not doing anything to me. I needed the energy, but at the same time I didn't have an appetite to eat. So she then called in an assistant. Midwife was going to help her during my birth. And then so this assistant is the one who said, okay, sit down on the toilet seat, and then every time a contraction comes, you have to push. And she put her hand inside to feel the baby's head. So her hand was holding my baby's head so that every time she gets to see when and feel when the baby's actually coming down. So that actually helped me a great lot, because because my body was tired, my mind was telling me that I'm pushing enough, and yet my body was not pushing enough. So she would tell me every single time that, okay, here you didn't push enough, you need to push more. And then that really motivated me to really push more than I was actually doing. So I only got off the toilet seat when the baby's head was, when the hair was actually out, the crown of the head was quite almost out. And then that's when I got into the tub, and then I gave birth. It wasn't so easy again. I did push, but because my baby's head was not positioned straight, it was a bit slanted. It ended up making me tear myself, and also it was a bit longer because of the position of my baby's head. So finally I did push, it came out, and my baby was finally in my arms. And he didn't cry. I guess it's the water. And then they took him out, gave him to the father, and my husband cut the umbilical cord. And for the first time in a very long time, I had someone bat me. It was quite just an experience for me, for someone to bat me, literally bat me like a baby. So as they were taking care of me, my baby was with the father. And yeah, he was just on the father's chest for that skin to skin. And the thing that disappointed me a bit is the fact that I got tears, and I had to get stitches. And my midwife said it's because of the positioning of the baby's head. Had it not been for that, I wouldn't have got any stitches. But the good thing is that it was a perfect delivery. It was great, healthy. He came out healthy and perfectly well. Yes. Okay, so I was stitched up, and they did numb me, and she said there's this new technology where you don't get to see the stitches, so she stitches you up from inside, something like that. So yes, she did stitch me up, and then afterwards, so literally I was like a baby. My midwife bathed me. She even helped me dress up, literally pulled my panty up for me. It was funny for me because I don't even remember when last someone did that for me. Like, obviously not something that I would wish for someone to bath me even on a normal day. But yeah, it was just something funny for me on that day that, okay, someone is bathing me, dressing me up. She even put lotion on me. Like, okay, it just felt weird but funny for me. And then so I did stay at the birthing retreat I gave birth around 7. We left around past 1 p.m. the same day. So I think 6-7 hours, somewhere there. And the only reason why we left is because there was nothing, I didn't need extra care. I also needed to rush home for my first son. Yeah, but mainly because I didn't need any extra care. So after I gave birth, I was asked if I needed what kind of breakfast I would want. So we were given breakfast. She took care of the baby. She even came like, no, you need to eat. Let me take care of the baby. She showed me how to latch my baby on the breast. And she kept on checking on me. Since soon after giving birth, you bleed a lot. She kept checking where I was sleeping. Are you okay? Do you need help? Like, literally, I felt like a baby, to be honest. I just felt like I'm a baby with a baby. You know, so everything was great. There was no pressure for us to leave or to, you know, there wasn't any pressure. We are taking really great care of. The breakfast was also great. I remember the rusk that she gave us. I'm not a rusk person, but those ones, I keep telling myself I need to ask her, where are those rusks? Where did you buy them? Because those rusks were really, really great. They showered us with kindness, a lot of kindness. It's like, you know, I just felt at home. So it's like a home. And they both felt like they are my mothers. You know, obviously one of them is older, way older, like my mom, and then the other one I can take it like an older sister. But I just feel like I'm giving birth at home, you know, with my mother there and my older sister there, and I'm just a baby being taken care of. It was really great. It was worth the money, and I wouldn't comparing with the first experience with my first son. I would definitely go for the water birth, especially at this particular retreat. It's called City View Birthing Retreat. I would definitely go back for the water birth. I really did enjoy, you know. The advice I'd actually like to give to someone who's considering private over public is, in your first few months, go for public. You get all the treatment you want there. They are thorough, so you definitely get everything that you need there. And then later on, then go for your private. Sorry. Then later on, you then go to your private care. And then if you're going to ask me whether water birth or that's a choice you have to make, I prefer water birth. It's much more nicer for me. So my baby is 5 weeks now, and myself, I'm still recovering mentally from the birth experience because it was so painful, like I mentioned earlier. So I'm still recovering from that trauma, from the shock my body got from giving birth. And then my baby is really doing great. He was such a big baby. I also forgot to mention that he came at 3.85 kg, so he was a really big baby, and he's doing extremely well, growing very, very well. And yes, so 5 weeks later, this is my birth story for my second blessing from God. Hi, my name is Tandiwe Juru, and this is my miracle birth story.